gonna drive, drive, drive.
After a quick drive from Florida and our daughter's beautiful wedding in Western Massachusetts, it was time to start our travel plans in New England. We packed up the RV and said our goodbyes. Our first stop is the only camping world in Massachusetts with a dump station we can use. It is a bit out of our way, but New England is so small it doesn't really add much time to our next stop. We then made the short drive east to Woburn, Massachusetts, where we'd spend a few days visiting family and mooch docking in Louise's cousin's driveway. For those who aren't familiar with mooch docking, it is a popular term used by RVers who stay in someone's driveway or property. Whether it is a friend or family member, sometimes we get to park on their property for a few days. Basically, it is free camping, and we get to spend time with those we love. In this case, Louise's cousin Paula and Brick invited us to stay at their house so that we could spend some time with them and take a tour of Boston. The Freedom Trail in downtown Boston has been on our bucket list for a long time. Instead of driving into the city, which, if you've ever done it, you know it can be an adventure all its own, we hopped aboard the MBTA. There's a station in Woburn not far from where we were staying. It was a weekday in mid-morning, so it was not crowded at all and very relaxing. We got dropped off at North Station, which is a short 18-minute walk to the Boston Common, the starting point of the Freedom Trail.
We're in Boston. Let's get Dunkin'.
Our goal for the day is to walk the historic Freedom Trail. The Freedom Trail starts at Boston Common. The length of the trail is 2.5 miles, or about 4 kilometers, and takes about 90 minutes to complete. But if you want to visit the sites along the way, it can be a whole day affair. The end of the trail is at the USS Constitution Museum. We skipped the Bunker Hill because we hoped to spend more time at the USS Constitution, but that didn't work out because the exhibit was closed for maintenance. The Boston Common is the oldest public park in the United States. This green space was set aside back in 1634. From the Common, the trail climbs toward the Massachusetts State House, crowned with that iconic golden dome. Architect Charles Bulfinch designed it in the late 1700s, right after the Revolution. If you follow the red brick line from here, you're literally walking a path that connects almost 400 years of American history, from colonial days all the way through the birth of the nation. Just a short walk from the State House is the Granary Burying Ground, one of the oldest cemeteries in Boston, dating back to 1660. More than 5,000 people are buried here, ordinary Bostonians, alongside some of the most important figures of the American Revolution. One of the most visited graves is Paul Revere's, marked by a simple stone that feels surprisingly humble for a man whose midnight ride helped change the course of history. 3 signers of the Declaration of Independence are also buried here: Samuel Adams, John Hancock, and Robert Treat Paine, along with victims of the Boston Massacre. It's a peaceful place today, but standing here, you are reminded that you are surrounded by people who helped shape the earliest days of our nation. From the burial ground, we continued our walk through downtown Boston. We even caught one of the city's famous duck boats rolling by. These World War II style amphibious vehicles are part tour bus, part boat ride, and part comedy show. A few blocks later, we arrived at the site of the Boston Massacre, a turning point in the lead up to the Revolution. On March 5, 1770, tensions between colonists and the British soldiers boiled over right here on this street. When the smoke cleared, 5 colonists were dead, and the outrage helped spark push toward independence. Today, a small granite circle marks the spot, surrounded by the very buildings that witnessed it. It's a powerful reminder of how quickly things can change, and how moments like this fueled the desire for freedom. A little further down the trail, we reached the Old South Meeting House, and this is where Boston really found its voice. Built in 1729, it was the largest building in colonial Boston. From Old South, Freedom Trail leads us to one of Boston's most famous spots, Faneuil Hall. Known as the Cradle of Liberty, This building has hosted speeches, meetings, and debates for nearly 300 years. Samuel Adams stirred up crowds here, and generations of Bostonians have gathered to argue, celebrate, and push for change. Today it still has that energy, but now it's mixed with street performers, food vendors, and visitors from all over the world. Just steps away is Quincy Market, built in the 1820s to feed the booming city. Back then, this was the heart of Boston's food scene. Today, it still is. Chowder, lobster rolls, pastries, you name it. If the Old South Meeting House fueled a revolution, Quincy Market fuels hungry tourists. And honestly, both are pretty important. Just a short walk from Quincy Market is the Union Oyster House, the oldest continually operating restaurant in the United States. It opened in 1826, and it's been serving oysters, chowder, and classic New England seafood ever since. The Freedom Trail winds straight into Boston's North End, the oldest neighborhood in the city, full of Italian bakeries, restaurants, narrow streets, and more history per square foot than just about anywhere else in America. One of the most meaningful stops here is the Revere House. Built around 1680, it's the oldest surviving structure in downtown Boston. Revere lived here with his family when he made his famous midnight ride, warning the colonists that British troops were on the move. Standing outside the house, it's amazing to think this simple wooden home belonged to a man whose message helped change the course of history. From here, the trail leads to the Old North Church, the oldest standing church building in Boston. This is where the famous lanterns were hung on April 18, 1775. The signal that set the whole chain of events into motion. One if by land, two if by sea. It's one of those moments where you realize how fragile our lives really are. A single signal, seen by the right people at the right time, helped ignite the American Revolution. A short walk away sits Copp's Hill Burying Ground, dating back to 1659. Many artisans, shipbuilders, and everyday Bostonians are buried here, and during the Revolution, British soldiers used the high ground here as a vantage point to fire cannonballs into Charlestown during the Battle of Bunker Hill. Today, it's peaceful and still, with incredible views overlooking the harbor. And speaking of the harbor, the trail eventually brings you right to the waterfront. Modern-day boats pass through the same waters where British warships once anchored, and it's a reminder of just how much has changed and how much began right here. By this point, we'd walked through nearly 250 years of history and more than a few miles on foot, but every step was worth it. From Copp's Hill, we made our way toward the Charlestown Navy Yard, where the Freedom Trail ends at one of the most famous ships in American history, the USS Constitution, also known as Old Ironsides. Launched in 1797, she's the oldest commissioned warship afloat in the world. During the War of 1812, cannonballs bounced off her oak hull so often that sailors started calling her Old Ironside, a nickname that stuck for more than 200 years. Unfortunately, the ship was closed for renovations during our visit, so we couldn't step aboard this time. But even from the pier, she's an impressive sight. It's something special to see in person and makes me proud to be a Navy veteran. Right next to the Constitution is Dry Dock 1, the first naval dry dock ever built in the United States. Completed in 1833, ships like the Constitution came in here to be repaired and restored long before power tools or modern machinery. It's a pretty incredible piece of naval engineering and a reminder of just how much hard work went into maintaining these vessels.
Oh, that was the Freedom Trail.
We're from Massachusetts, but we never really got to enjoy Boston.
No,
when we
never
lived
did.
here, we were always busy, raising a family and working. And now that we're retired, we thought we'd come back and visit Boston the
Right.
proper way.
We used to come to Boston a lot for work.
Yeah, but it's not the
much for
same.
pleasure.
Yeah, but it was a really nice day. It turned out the weather cooperated,
Yeah.
and now it's just gorgeous. Really nice.
Nice place.
Yeah.
Had fun.
Yeah, we did. We had a lot of fun.
Freedom Trail's been on a bucket list for a while.
Can you believe that? Lived here in Boston, Massachusetts, and never did the whole Freedom Trail.
Right.
Is that a hike, George, or a walk?
That was a walk.
2.5 miles,
Right.
but yeah, one each way.
It was fun. Good time.
From the Boston Common all the way to the Charlestown Navy Yard, we covered centuries of American history and quite a few miles on foot. If you ever visit Boston, this walk is absolutely worth the time. The history, the neighborhoods, the food, it all comes together in a way that really makes this city come alive. Thanks for coming along with us today, and please give this video a thumbs up. It will help us tremendously. In our next video, we'll slow things down a bit and head north to Tewksbury Pond Campground, and then explore the seaside charm of Newburyport, Massachusetts. We'll see you in the next adventure.